All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about one of the most visible and maybe one of the most misunderstood symbols in the Christian faith. I'm talking about the ashes of Ash Wednesday. Together, we're going to unpack the really deep and fascinating theology behind this ancient tradition.
You've probably seen it, right? Maybe at the grocery store or at your office or just on the news. Someone with a dark, ashy cross right on their forehead. It's a pretty striking image, and it makes you wonder, what's that all about?
Well, here's the wild part. That messy, kind of somber mark, it's actually seen as one of the most beautiful signs of forgiveness and hope in Christianity. So how on earth can that be? How does that work? Okay, part one, the meaning of dust. To really get the symbol, we've got to start with the substance itself, the ashes.
So first, a little bit of context is super helpful. Ash Wednesday is what kicks off a period called Lent. You can just think of it as a 40-day season of preparation, a time for Christians to reflect and, get ready for the big celebration of Easter.
So what's the deal with these ashes? What do they actually do? Well, in this tradition, they have two really specific and powerful jobs, you could say. Yeah, this isn't just random dirt. These ashes carry some serious meaning.
And here they are, those two jobs. First, you have the dust factor. This is a pretty stark reminder of our mortality, the fact that our physical bodies are fragile and don't last forever. Then you've got the sorry factor. For centuries, ashes were used as this very outward, very physical sign of repentance, a way of saying, I am truly sorry for my mistakes. And this isn't a new thing. You see it in ancient texts all over the place.
And like I said, this idea goes way, way back. The whole dust concept comes straight out of the book of Genesis. In fact, when the ashes are put on someone's forehead, the priest often says these exact words. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Whoa. It's a really humbling, powerful moment.
Okay, part two, the symbol of the cross. So, if the ash is all about our mortality and our mistakes, where does the hope come in? Well, it's not about the substance. It's all about the shape.
And honestly, this is the absolute game changer. The mark isn't just some random smudge of ash. No, it's put there on purpose, in the shape of a cross. And that one little detail, it changes everything.
I mean, look at this. It lays out the transformation perfectly. On one hand, you have the ash, the substance. That points to the problem, right? Our mistakes, our fragile nature. But then you have the cross, the symbol. And that points to the solution. The belief that Jesus' sacrifice covers those mistakes and offers a new kind of life, one that dust can't touch.
All right, that leads us to part three, after the ashes. So we've got the substance and we've got the symbol. Now let's see how this all comes together in an actual service. The service itself is really structured to walk you through this whole emotional and spiritual journey. It kicks off with an invitation, basically a call to take this season to reflect. Then there's a message, usually focusing on Jesus' sacrifice. And then you get to the core moment, the imposition, which is just when you receive the cross of ash. After that, there's a moment of quiet for personal prayer, and then the whole thing wraps up. But it doesn't end with dust. It ends with the good news, the promise of God's grace and forgiveness. But here's the thing. The experience doesn't just stop when you walk out of the church. Not at all. That cross of ash on your forehead, it keeps on working, acting as two really powerful visual reminders for the rest of the day.
So the first one is what we can call the silent witness. As you go about your day, that mark on your forehead is publicly telling a story of redemption, all without you having to say a single word. But the second reminder is just as important, and it's a private one. It's the wash, that moment later on when you wash the ashes away.
And that simple act of washing your face becomes this whole other powerful symbol. Think about it. Just like the water cleans that dark ash from your skin, the belief is that God's grace clears away your past mistakes. It's all about a fresh start, a new beginning. It's even a nod back to the idea of baptism.
So let's wrap this up. Our conclusion, from dust to deliverance. Let's bring all these threads together.
So here's the bottom line. At the end of the day, what starts out as a messy mark of our humanity, the dust, it gets completely transformed by the shape of the cross. It becomes this beautiful public sign of forgiveness and hope.
And that leaves us with one last really powerful idea to think about. How can a reminder of our end become a symbol of a new beginning? Well, the whole tradition of Ash Wednesday basically says that you have to remember where you came from, that you are dust, so that you can fully, truly appreciate the incredible promise of a brand new start.